Hey everyone, and welcome. I am genuinely so excited to guide you through today's explainer because we're unpacking something literally every single one of us has experienced, but, very few of us actually understand. Human attraction. I mean, it feels like magic, right? A spontaneous spark. But the truth is, attraction is actually this highly complex, absolutely fascinating web of psychology, neuroscience, and biology. It extends way, way beyond just physical appearance. So today, we're going to look under the hood of human connection and figure out what's really pulling the strings when we feel drawn to someone.
So let me ask you this right off the bat. Is attraction just about looks? Society constantly tells us it is. But here's the wild secret. Our brains are actually making a massive percentage of our attraction-related decisions completely subconsciously. Like before we even consciously register what a person looks like, we're taking in a million invisible cues every single second.
Okay, let's dive into this. Physical appearance, so things like facial symmetry, grooming, and even evolutionary cues like scent, that's actually just one slice of a much larger psychological pie. The rest of that pie, it's made up of neurochemistry, subconscious triggers, our deeply ingrained attachment styles, and emotional intelligence. If we want to truly understand why we fall for who we fall for, we really have to look at the whole picture.
To make sense of it all, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The hidden biology of attraction. 2. Subconscious triggers and social cues. 3. Attachment styles and connection. 4. Debunking common attraction myths. And 5. Cultivating true psychological attraction. We're going to peel back the layers step by step.
All right, let's jump into section 1, the hidden biology of attraction, the chemicals driving our connections. We're basically introducing the brain and its reward system as the main characters of early romantic interest.
And what's really interesting about this slide is how these specific chemicals power our brain's reward system totally behind the scenes, without us even realizing it. Dopamine, that's the spark, the ultimate reward and pleasure chemical giving you that initial rush. Then there's oxytocin, which acts as the glue. It's the bonding hormone that builds deep trust. Interestingly, serotonin levels can actually plummet when we're infatuated. That explains why we completely obsessively think about a new crush all day long. And finally, vasopressin is the anchor, driving long-term commitment. So you see, you aren't just falling for someone, you are experiencing a highly orchestrated chemical cascade.
Moving right along to section 2, subconscious triggers and social cues. These are the invisible forces pulling us together, shaped by our fascinating behavioral quirks and social proofs. Have you ever wondered why you suddenly develop a crush on a coworker you initially didn't even notice? Or maybe the regular at your local coffee shop? Well, that is the mere exposure effect at play. Our brains are literally hardwired to prefer things that are familiar, because from an evolutionary standpoint, familiarity equals safety from unknown threats. Just by repeatedly being in the exact same space as someone, your brain gradually drops its guard, and your baseline attraction to them actually increases. Crazy, right? Then we have the halo effect, which is a super common cognitive bias. Imagine you meet someone and they are exceptionally funny. Because of the halo effect, your brain takes that one single positive trait and subconsciously projects it onto everything else they do. You just assume they're also kind, smart, and successful. Noticing one good trait in a dating or workplace scenario causes us to subconsciously assume they possess a whole host of other amazing qualities, even without any actual proof.
Now, beyond biases, attraction is built in the moment through unconscious connection builders. We're talking about open body posture, sustained eye contact, and something incredibly powerful called unconscious mirroring. Unconscious mirroring, where we subtly, naturally copy someone's body language, actually hacks the brain into feeling a sense of instant kinship and mutual understanding. Combine that with the shared joy of laughter or the novelty of overcoming a challenge together, like a difficult hike or a stressful project, and you are rapidly building deep, undeniable emotional bonds.
Next up, section 3, attachment styles and connection. This is where we look at how our past shapes our present attraction and why our history of emotional safety dictates our current romantic interests.
This is a lifelong evolution, guys. Step 1 starts super early. Our childhood experiences with our caregivers directly mold the blueprints for love that we carry straight into adulthood. That leads us to step 2, our adult romantic attraction patterns, which eventually settle into one of the 4 main attachment styles listed in step 3, secure, anxious, avoidant, or disorganized. For instance, if your early life was inconsistent, your brain might actually feel more attracted to inconsistency in adulthood, simply because it's what feels familiar.
And this brings us to a really crucial comparison, trauma bonding versus emotional safety. Why on earth do we sometimes feel wildly attracted to the exact wrong people? Well, when we look at trauma bonding, cognitive biases and unmet emotional needs draw us toward destructive familiarity. It feels like intense passion, but honestly, it's often just anxiety in disguise. Contrast that with the foundation of true, healthy attraction: empathy, active listening, and emotional regulation. This is the stuff that builds genuine emotional safety.
Let's dive into Section 4, Debunking Common Attraction Myths, Separating Psychological Facts from Cultural Fiction. And note that this brilliantly illustrates the massive gap between common societal tropes like love at first sight and what actual research proves. Let's look at the classic myth, opposites attract. Sure, complete opposites might spark an intense, short-term interest because of the novelty and the thrill of the unknown. But long-term compatibility? That heavily relies on similarities. Research consistently shows we are ultimately most attracted to people who share our core values, our personality traits, and our lifestyle goals. Here's another big one. We always hear confidence is key. And yes, it absolutely is. But we really need to separate healthy confidence from arrogance. True attractive confidence is rooted in competence. It comes from having a purpose, ambition, and emotional stability. It's welcoming. Arrogance, on the other hand, is rooted in ego, insecurity, and a total lack of genuine empathy. One pulls people in, the other pushes them far, far away.
We also have to talk about mystery. People inherently value what seems rare. That's just the basic psychology of perceived value. Healthy mystery is just the natural uncertainty and the fun anticipation as you slowly get to know someone. But we have to contrast that with a major red flag: emotional manipulation. Playing games, creating artificial scarcity, or using intermittent reinforcement to keep someone guessing, that isn't building attraction, it's just building anxiety.
Which leads us to our final part, Section 5. Cultivating true psychological attraction, becoming the best version of yourself through healthy self-awareness.
So how do we become psychologically attractive? We improve our emotional intelligence, build genuine confidence, practice empathy, and maintain authenticity. But really notice that last bullet point: pursue meaningful goals independent of romance. True psychological attraction is an inside job, folks. It's deeply rooted in building a fulfilling, amazing life for yourself. Because when you are genuinely engaged in your own life, you naturally radiate the exact kind of competence and emotional stability that draws people in organically.
So the crucial point is this: focus on becoming emotionally healthy, rather than trying to manipulate others into liking you. This summarizes the core thesis of the entire explainer today. Healthy attraction grows from trust, shared values, and authenticity, not from playing tricks or games.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Are you trying to make someone like you, or are you becoming someone you like? When you shift your focus to the latter, the psychology of attraction naturally starts working in your favor. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope you leave today